So I know a lot of you already know me, but I like to start this off with the introduction. I am Sam Ocean. I've worked with a lot of large seven-figure creators in my career in the online education space. They come hire me when they want to differentiate and stand out with their offers, their content, and their brand. So I am doing this space once a week on X where I share everything I am learning and everything I have learned because I like to document my journey. I like to build in public and I like to show you what I'm doing for myself. So you can see that I take my own advice in public just to add some trust to it. So today we are talking about something that I am quite passionate about. It is the number one marketing skill I use today. I've been studying and practicing this stuff for like 9 years now. I've spent well over $20,000 just to learn this specific skill. And so, what we're about to dive into is responsible for making me who I am today. Okay. And so it all starts in 2017. I first got into this game as a freelance copywriter, very similar to what it is like a Twitter ghostwriter today, and I'm just trying to get my first client. So I'm cold emailing businesses every day. I'm getting ignored. I'm getting rejected. Barely anyone's replying back to me. 45 days in is when I finally get my first reply. It's this YouTube channel, personal development company, and they offer to hire me to write a blog post for $20. I don't complain. I take it, I do it, I send it in. 2 days later, they hire me again. Another blog post for $100. I'm happy. I'm like not complaining. I get it done. I turn it in. And so then it happens. 3 days later, they hit me up for a third project. This time it's a $300 project. And it's not to write a blog post, it's to write a video script. The purpose of the video script was to sell their product. So now there was some stakes involved. I needed to deliver some results with this. So um, I jump on the opportunity. I work on it day and night, and I turn it in about 3 days later. They publish the video to their audience, and it flops. It gets zero sales. I'm crushed. I felt like that was my big opportunity. I thought that was going to be my doorway into the industry. And I'm just thinking there's no way they're going to hire me afterwards. We fast forward 1 year later from that day, that same company hires me to launch a new product for them. And I have to write something very similar to when they hired me to write that video that flopped. But this time it doesn't flop. This time it does $100,000 in sales. It goes on to do about $300,000 over the course of the year. And that was the very beginning of my career, which I was then able to do about 10 million for different clients with projects like this over the last 9 years. I'm only able to create those results because of this skill that we're talking about today, which is something a lot of people don't know how to do. And when they try, it's something they don't understand too much. So it's not content, it's not offers, it's not personal branding. It's what I call crafting the right message. Crafting the right message is knowing what to say to your market, right? It's not the email itself, it's not the ad itself, it's not the content or the website itself. It doesn't matter if it's long form or short form. It's what you say in those things. Okay, this is why you can have two competitors in the same market selling the same product, targeting the same audience, everything the same, but one person will make no money while the other person just crushes it. The person who makes the money is the person who can craft the message. So, this is the skill I know today. I believe marketing is messaging and nothing more. The two are the same. So when you can do this, this is how you create that magnetic effect where instead of you going to other people, they come to you. That effect happens with messaging, and it's also what we call the message to market match. So the question of today is, how do we get that message to market match? It's a hard question to answer, which is why I cannot teach you exactly what to say, because you're in a different industry, different product, different audience. You might have a different brand. It's always going to look different. So I will give you clarity on how to do this so you can find the answer for your business and make it way more simple to understand. There are 5 ways to do it, and I'm going to tell you how I do it for myself, my clients, my partners. because again, this is one of the most important things I look at when it comes to marketing. So I want you to be the first one to know. My way of saying thank you for following. It amazes me that you guys hop into these spaces. I just started doing these 4 weeks ago, never would have imagined. And, there were people who helped me at the beginning of my journey. So this is my way to return the favor and just to help everyone else without asking for anything in return. So let's see. I see Francesca, Reggie, V, my main man, the guy who started this whole thing. Again, I'm just scrolling through. Got Red. Can't wait to see that podcast, Red. Got Robin, Gavin, just the gentleman on X. Amazing. Amazing. Okay. So, with that said, I would usually so what I want to do is before we dive in, there's a small surprise for anybody who wants it. It's going to be at the end of this space for anyone who's been here before. You know what's coming. And so if you know, you know. So just stay till the end. You can see what it is, discover how to get it. With that said, again, for anyone who just joined as I was talking, this is Marketing Mastery, 5 ways to craft the perfect message that converts. The number one marketing skill I know is not offers copywriting content. It is crafting the right message. There are 5 ways to do this. I've been doing this for the last 7 to 9 years. So now I'm going to share it with you. Before we ask how to create the perfect message, we need to know what is the perfect message. Okay. The perfect message doesn't actually exist, meaning there is no one message that's correct. There are multiple perfect messages. It just entirely depends on who you're talking to. You see, messaging comes down to one of my favorite quotes, which is you must enter the conversation already taking place inside somebody's mind. The perfect message is the message that meets somebody exactly where they're at. And that is the mental conversation they are having in their head. So let's give an obvious example. If you hear a group of people talking about cats and somebody walks up and starts talking about dogs, that is the wrong message. That is not a message to market match. You cannot just change the conversation right away. You must first enter the conversation, right? And so the flip side, if there's a group of people talking about cats and someone walks up and starts talking about dogs, that is still not the right message to market match. Business is no different. There is a conversation happening inside your general market's mind, and you metaphorically need to walk up and join that conversation, right? Once you join that conversation, then you can lead the conversation. This is when you found message to market match. The mistake people make is they try to change the conversation right away. They try to lead the conversation right away. That can't happen. You must join the conversation as step 1. Once you successfully join it, then step 2 is when you start to transition them to listening to the things you want to tell them. And this is obviously in the business context. So we're leading them towards buying our offer. So it's less about what you say, and it's much more about who you're saying it to and what they are saying to themselves. It may sound complicated, but we can simplify it even further. There's the famous book, you might have heard it, Breakthrough Advertising. People call this the marketing Bible. It costs $400 on Amazon. The author of the book, Eugene Schwartz, he introduces this concept, which is what made the book famous. He calls it the 5 stages of awareness. 5 stages of awareness states there are only 5 conversations happening in any market at any time. These conversations entirely depend on somebody's awareness. That awareness means how much they know or don't know about your market. So there are people who are more aware and more educated on how things work. There are people who are less aware and less educated on how things work. And then there's a bunch of people somewhere in the middle. Okay. So I'll give you an example soon. The 5 stages are stage 5, people are unaware. So they're not aware that they have a problem that your business can solve. Stage 4 is problem aware. They're aware they have a problem, but they're just not aware of a solution or that a solution exists. Stage 3 is solution aware. They're aware that the solution now exists, but they're just not sure which solution is best. Stage 2 is product aware. They're aware of your specific product, but not exactly how it works, and they're not completely sold on it. The final stage is stage 1, most aware. They're aware of everything you do, but they just need a few more a few more details until they can buy from you. Okay. So an example is this. Let's take a business who is a chiropractor and he helps people alleviate their back pain. Okay. Someone who is unaware in that market is a guy who sits at his desk with his back hunched for 8 hours a day and he doesn't realize that's a bad thing to do. Okay. He's doing that thing, which is terrible, but he doesn't realize it's terrible. That's someone who's completely unaware of the situation. Now he's going to become problem aware because as he's sitting there, he's going to start to feel back pain and he's going to realize every time he, sits up properly, the back pain goes away a little bit. Now he's problem aware. He's like, I have an issue with my back. When he becomes solution aware is when it gets so bad where he goes to Google and he types how to fix my back pain. And he's now starting to read these blog articles. That's someone who's becoming solution aware because they're discovering there's a way to fix this. Product aware is when that same guy falls on your website, he starts to read about chiropractic and he's learning specifically about the thing that you do. Okay. Most aware is when that person then schedules like a free session, a free phone call, and they want to inquire about what it looks like to work with you. Okay. Your job with your messaging and your marketing is to move people through each stage of awareness to the point where they buy from you. So you want to move them from unaware to most aware. And there's 5 levels. So that's finding a way to reach the guy who's hunching his back at his desk for 8 hours a day, and then using marketing to get him to the point where he's booking his first session in your chiropractic office. That's the metaphor. So when you hear these people, these marketers like myself talk about turning strangers into customers, this is what they're talking about, right? The unaware level are strangers, and then the most aware people are the ones who are closest to customers. All of this to say, that means there are 1 of 5 ways you can craft your message to your market, which gives you 1 of 5 ways to reach the message to market match. Each stage requires a different message, and I'll tell you how I do that in just a moment, right? The one final note to understand that I see people get confused on is they ask the question, well, what stage is my market now? You hear this thing about, the market's getting very sophisticated and they're at a certain level. Sophistication is very different from awareness. The two are related, but when it comes to awareness, the market is every level at the same time. Okay. Every market is broken down into different ratios. So, for example, people who are unaware, and these numbers, I'm just pulling these out of my ass, but this is generally just to give you the idea. Like 60% of your market is unaware. 60% of the people are the ones who sit with their backs hunched over and they don't even realize that's an issue. About 20% of people are problem aware. 10% of people are solution aware, 7% of people are product aware, which means they know the thing you do, and 3% of them are most aware, which means there's 3% of people in any market who are just ready to buy if you put an offer in front of their face. You need to craft a message at each of those levels if you want to grow your business to the size you want to grow it. And I'm really saying this in the context of if you want to go, 50K, 60K, 80K, that's very ambitious, but this stuff will definitely help you do the 5, the 7, and the 10K level too. So, all of that said, we are now ready to dive into the specific stages. Okay. I realize we're going deep today. This is a topic that is much better taught when it's visual. There's a lot of visual components I wish I could show you, so I will do my best to explain. The largest segment, stage 5, people who are unaware. Because it's the largest, it's also the hardest market to convert because they're the most aware. They take the most education, they take the most awareness, and they just need the most from you. This means you need to create the most marketing for them. Now, I won't pretend to say I'm an expert at converting this segment of the market because it is one of the hardest to do. Few can successfully actually do it. If there's some, OG marketers here. There's companies like Agora Financial or VShred, big like multi 8-figure, 9-figure, even 10-figure companies are the ones who have to tap into this market to reach what we call true scale. Okay. Now, the way you can typically reach this market, and I'll tell you why it's a good thing in a moment, is usually with bizarre stories that are just impossible to look away from. This is where clickbait originated. So the term clickbait, the style of marketing, which is called clickbait, that is used to tap into unaware levels of markets. So if you've ever visited a website, right? A blog post, and on the side you see all of these like weird banner images. Those banner images that look like weird ads that you'd be like, who would ever click on these? You'd be surprised how many people click on those. So it's when you see a picture of a banana and it says 3 foods you should never eat, or you're on YouTube and you see the guy with 6-pack abs holding a pizza and he's like, diet and exercise is making you fat, right? Or the old school blog post where it's like 7, super expensive luxury homes, number 3 is going to blow your mind. That all that style of marketing is clickbait, and the whole goal is to get your attention, get you to click, and then they're trying to lead you into what their actual business is. Again, it's very hard to do. So if I were to do this in the personal brand world, like here on Twitter, here on X, and I'm selling personal branding, what I would do is, and I wanted to tap into the unaware market and I wanted to teach them like personal branding, how to build a creator business, I would go something after like the 9 to 5 people, right? Anyone who has a 9 to 5 job, because there's so many more of them than there are creator businesses. But I would cater it to the ones who aren't really thinking about starting a business online. They just want to make some money, right? So maybe they're focused on getting a promotion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say why getting a promotion is the biggest scam of the 21st century. Or you could say something like why trying to get a promotion is actually stopping you from earning more money. That is a big twist. That's enough to get someone to click and be like, what is this guy talking about? The reason it's tough is because once you enter that conversation, you then need to transition them into your thing. You need to say something like, you don't want to focus on getting a promotion because there's no leverage in a promotion. The only way to make money is with leverage. And if you want to build leverage, then don't focus on the promotion, focus on starting a creator business online. Here's the easiest creator business to start. You can do it by writing 300-word emails every day, right? That's an example of taking someone through awareness levels in a very, nutshell version of it. So another example, one that I bring up quite often, is a YouTube channel, former client, Charisma on Command, 6 million subscribers. They talk about how to build charisma, right? That channel shouldn't be big. That's not the type of channel that has millions and millions of subscribers, but they did it. And they did it because they started creating content for unaware levels of the market. People who didn't even care about charisma, right? How can you create content for someone who doesn't even think about what you're currently doing? When you can successfully do that, that's when you can reach millions of people, get the millions of followers, and really grow your business. So what they did is they stopped talking about charisma for a bit and they started talking about what the market was talking about, which at the time was Game of Thrones, right? It's such an easy example to give. So they started changing their thumbnails, their titles, and the topics of their videos to Game of Thrones. And boom, they're now suddenly getting way more attention, way more people clicking, way more watching. What they did in the video is they then started to transition from Game of Thrones into why, these characters are so interesting because they're charismatic. And look at these 5 things this person does that you didn't even realize as you're watching the season. Oh, if you want to learn those 5 things for yourself, we have so many more videos you can watch. Now people are suddenly interested in charisma. They realize, oh, maybe my lack of charisma is a problem in my life. So if you want to do something like this, then my suggestion would be this: is take something that somebody is already doing and tell them why that's actually the wrong thing to be doing. Okay. So just you can create a really good clickbait effect. For example, if someone's doing spaces like me, you could say why doing spaces is actually ruining your brand. If you go out into the timeline and say that, you're going to attract a lot of attention. You just need to be able to back it up with a good actual reason why that's the case. We're all using spaces because we think it's going to build our brand. So when you can come around and say why that's actually the opposite, that's a good way to tap into an unaware level of the audience. And again, this is giving a very simple explanation. This is why when you see an ad and it shows a banana and then it says 3 foods you should never eat, it's making you think a banana is something you shouldn't eat. You've been told your whole life, oh, bananas are great. We've been told drinking milk is great, right? There are things society has told your market that they still believe is true. If you can go call those things out, you are taking one big step into tapping into a very large segment of the market. I would experiment with like 1 to 2 medium long form tweets a month with this. Don't go too crazy on it. Again, it's probably one of the hardest things to do. It's usually done in paid advertising, but you can do it with organic content too. And I've seen it done very successfully. So if you hate feeling like you're stuck inside money Twitter and it's like, oh, this circle is very small, that's usually an element of the fact that your content just isn't reaching people outside of money Twitter, and it's related to these awareness levels. The content, it's not going far enough. It's not going to the right stages, which is usually a stage 5 unaware person, or stage 4 who realizes they have a problem but they don't even know money Twitter exists. Try to make content for that person and then see what happens. So that's stage 5 unaware. We are going to move on to stage 4 problem aware. Okay, this is the second largest segment of the market. They realize they do have a problem now, but they just don't know a solution exists. This is where a lot of creators and business owners struggle. They don't know what to say to move someone from this stage to the next, because the key is you can't just talk about the problem. You can't just say, hey, you have a problem, right? With the back pain guy, you can't just say, hey, you're sitting at your desk and now you have back pain and that's your problem, right? The awareness of the problem isn't enough. You need to make them want to solve the problem. That's the key with marketing here. They got to want to solve the problem. They got to want to do something. You have to channel that desire in them to want to change. This is where people struggle with. The way you can fix this is by doing what I call pain stacking, okay? Pain stacking is a very specific style of messaging. It's where you just remind people on how this problem is just affecting their life in the worst way possible. Okay. You lead with the problem, and then you talk about the painful stuff that's happening in their life as a result of that problem. And then you need to start talking about all of the hidden pains that they don't realize or that they've forgotten. And then you go into the deeper pains that they didn't even realize was happening, behind the scenes. But when you remind them of this, it really lights an urgency for them to make them to want to change. So here's an example. Again, if you're teaching people about business, how to build a business, create a business, how to grow, you could say something like, you're probably noticing growth on X is slow lately. You're waking up, seeing less followers, less DMs, less leads. It's frustrating because your income is dependent on this. And today your income is down, but you're worried because you don't know when things are going to get better. And you've got a family at home. You told your wife you're really going to make this thing happen. You don't want to go through the embarrassment of like telling her again, like, oh, sorry, I just need, a couple more weeks or whatever. But what you don't realize is the entire market is being affected by this too. The X algo is keeping your content from reaching new people. The competition's flooding the timeline with AI generated BS. That's just drowning out your stuff even more, which means your customers are spending less money with you and more money with other people. But here's the worst part. Things are only going to get worse. Even the biggest accounts are starting to panic. And what does that mean for us, the little guys? There's even still a few people who are crushing it regardless of what happens with the algo. They're fine right now, they're raking it in. But what does that mean for you? Have you stopped to ask, is the problem really the algo, or is the problem you? Right? That little ramble I did, that was an example of pain stacking. That's the type of messaging that if you can tap into that messaging, you can get someone to really want to change. You can really light a fire under someone's ass and they will want to start looking for, okay, well, how do I change this? What do I do? What solution can I buy? That's where a lot of people lack. One, because they don't know what someone's actual pain is. Two, they don't know how to talk about it. So pain stacking is how you do it. And three, a lot of people have an ethical concern with going into something like that, right? It is up to you to what level you want to do. The number one to create natural urgency is to talk about someone's pain. This is probably the number one thing you can do in marketing and messaging combined. Just doing this alone can tap whatever audience you have. Just doing this alone can be the thing that probably activates people who are following you today and turning them into clients within 7 to 10 days. Often when I go into a client's business, big personal brand, they got a large audience and their sales start to slow down and they're like, oh, I've already exhausted my audience. My audience won't buy anymore because they've already seen my offer. They've already bought. We need to go do ads. We need to go do something new. We need to go get more people. The first thing I do is I start to add this messaging into their marketing, and then we can tap into like anywhere from $70 to $100,000 collected over the next 30 days, right? And then it starts to be recurring over time because this segment of the market is just unactivated, but they're watching you today. So that's pain stacking. Um, 3 levels that you want to talk about. You want to talk about surface level problems and pains, and then you want to take it a step deeper and talk about if you look at the bigger picture for a second, you're going to see what's happening in the market, what's happening in the economy, like what's happening kind of in the world, things that they don't really notice, but if you bring it up, it might concern them a little bit. And then you're going to go deeper. It's usually a self-esteem issue. So what's happening in their external world, and then what's happening in their internal world. Start outside, go inside. That is pain stacking. Um, I could do an entire space on this, and I probably will someday, but I'll leave it at that for now. We go on to the next stage. Okay, we're halfway there. Stage 3 is someone who's solution aware. Okay, so here they're aware of the problem and they're aware that a solution exists, but they just don't know which solution is best. What most people do here is they just tell them the solution. Okay, it's like, oh, here's my solution, here's how it works. That logically makes sense, but it's actually the wrong thing to do because everything is illogical. This game is very irrational. It actually doesn't make sense. And so you cannot directly tell someone about your thing. That is not how influence or persuasion works. You cannot convince someone or persuade them of your thing directly head on. Again, this is the mistake most people are making. They spend so much time talking about their thing and what they do, but you cannot make someone say yes to your thing. What you have to do is you have to make them say no to everything else first. Okay. It's a process of elimination, it is addition by subtraction. This is the most covert way of persuasion, and covert persuasion is the only persuasion, in my opinion. So if we take that chiropractor example, right? At this stage, that random guy is now starting to Google different ways to alleviate his back pain. And he's finding a lot of different options, right? He can buy icy hot and rub the cream on his back to make it go away. He can buy a inversion table and like hang himself upside down so it like kind of stretches his spine out. He can, he can get pain relief medication. He can get a standing desk. He can buy a gaming chair. He can do mobility exercises. There's so many things he can do, or he can go to a chiropractic office, right? Don't tell this person why chiropractic is the #1 way to alleviate your back pain. What you need to do is tell them why all the other options are not the way to alleviate your back pain. So you say something like, hey, you can rub icy hot on your back and it might feel good for a little bit, but after 2 hours, the pain's going to come back because it doesn't solve the root problem, right? You can hang upside down in an inversion table, but the moment you stop doing that, the pain's going to come right away because you're going to sit down and compress your spine again. You can buy a gaming chair, but that's going to be very expensive, and the only ones worth getting are $500 plus. And even then, you're just going to be sitting again. And sitting is what's causing the issue, if you remember from before, right? You knock out all the other options. All that's left is your solution. Okay. Once you knock out all the other options, all that's left is your solution. That is how you make your solution stand out. And instead of telling them what you do, you make them come to you. Remember, at the beginning, I said this, how to create that magnetic effect where instead of you going to them, they come to you. You do that with messaging, and this is how you do that, right? Pain stacking from before. You are reminding them of how painful this stuff is. That makes them want to change it. Here at Solution Aware, you're telling them why all the other options are ineffective. So all that's left is your option, and they're going to naturally start to ask questions. They're going to be naturally intrigued about it. You are planting seeds of doubt in their mind, and you're letting them believe it is their idea to look at your thing rather than you telling them to look at your thing. So this is one of my favorite things to do. I call it disproving other solutions. You can call it invalidating other solutions. So when you write this in your marketing, this is when you say, it is not this, and here's why. It is not that, and it is not this thing. It's not ABC, it's not 1, 2, 3, it's not XYZ. That is persuasive in and of itself. And this is my favorite way to influence people. So that is how you message at Solution Aware. Disprove other solutions. All that's left is yours. This leads us to stage 2. We're almost there, which is product aware. Okay. This is where people know a problem exists and they know different solutions exist And now they know about your solution, the very specific thing that you do, but they just need to be sold on it, on why it's better than everything else. Now, if you follow the first stage, you are already at an advantage. Deep down, they already believe yours is better than everything else, but they just need to learn more about it. Okay. Here, what you want to do is just emphasize what makes your solution different. Okay. Then again, this could be a whole space in and of itself, which I will do someday. So let me give you an example. um, if I were teaching how to grow a personal brand, if that was my thing and I wanted to coach you on building your personal brand, then the best thing I can do is tell you why my solution is different, why working with me is different. What once you pay me, what are we going to do that is different from what everybody else does? So what I would do is I would focus on content. My solution for you would be, don't worry about engagement, don't worry about even branding, just focus on content. Now that's not even different because a lot of people focus on that. So I'm going to go one step deeper and I'm going to try to create a methodology around content that is different from other people's methods around content. For me, I call it the breakthrough idea. So if you want to grow your personal brand, you have to do it with content, but you can't just follow any other typical content strategy. You have to do what I call the breakthrough idea. I would then explain it's a way of creating content that cuts through the noise, stands out in the crowd, and attracts more followers than the standard content templates or strategies. This is my solution to the slow growth problem. And my solution is very simple. Instead of just posting 3 short tweets a day, spend the extra time to share one longer tweet about an idea nobody else is talking about. This is the #1 way to stand out on the timeline, and all you have to do is do this 2 to 4 times a month. Keep tweeting every day, but this is your secret weapon to really break through and attract followers to you. Whatever is different about your thing, come up with it. Emphasize something no one else is emphasizing. It just needs to be different because better is not better, different is better. And that's what you want to do at stage 2. You want to talk about the difference of what you do versus what other people do who are similar. I see a lot of people here. It's usually tough because there's so many of us doing very similar things. It doesn't matter if you think what you're doing is different. It matters what the market sees. And from the market's perspective, we're all just kind of mushed together offering the same stuff. This is how you stand out in level 2. This brings us to the final stage, which is someone who's most aware. This is the smallest segment of the market. It's the easiest to sell to because they're ready to buy and you just need to pull it across the finish line. Okay. The best thing you can do here is to simply make an offer to someone, right? Let people know you have something to sell. Don't hide the fact that you're a business with something to offer. A lot of people are afraid of making too many offers because they think it's too salesy. The truth is, if you do everything else we talked about here, then you are completely fine. There's going to be someone new who's ready to buy each and every week, and you presenting your offer is going to be perfect timing for that person. And so the people who make the most money in my circles, I see someone like Eddie Kwan here, usually are making one offer every day, which means they're at least soft pitching what they sell once a day on their timeline, in their email list, whatever it may be. It's important to do this because your audience forgets quickly. They may want to buy, but life gets in the way and they'll put it off until later. So the worst part is, man, it's so easy to lose a customer at this stage because they are ready to buy. They're ready to get going. They've already gone through all these levels of awareness. It's time to get started. And if you don't make them an offer, they're going to go to someone else who does make them an offer. So what a lot of people here don't realize is probably how much money we've all missed because a customer who would have bought from us just went and bought from somebody else because that person was making more offers and we were not. Okay. That's why being seen daily, that's why this Twitter game of posting every day is important, not so much for the content aspect, but just to stay top of mind, just so people don't forget about you. Okay. So for me and my own strategies, when I post daily, it is less about trying to get followers and really trying to make an impression. It's just reminding you that Sam Ocean exists. Okay. That's how I treat this. And that's what you want to do, but you want to do that on an offer level. So again, the specifics of how to make an offer, too much for this space, but that's okay because the advice here is not what you need to say in your offer. This is the one exception where you just need to make the offer in the first place. Present it to your audience. Don't be shy about it. This is the easiest stage to tap into. You just have to let people know your offer exists, and they will come to you because people like to spend money. People like to buy. So even presenting a decent offer is still going to be better than no offer at all. And when you follow the steps of messaging, when you follow the stages of messaging at each of these levels, you are creating a lot of desire in your market, and that desire is going to compel them to buy what you have, even if it's not quote unquote a killer offer or a bulletproof proof offer. And like that's kind of the key to this game. You can have, just a good offer. If all of these other elements are figured out, then that good offer is going to sell, and it's going to sell a lot. So when it comes to this specific offer step, I'll talk about more details in just a second. We are now at the end of this space. Okay. That was I feel like I blacked out. I'm coming back to reality. In summary, crafting the perfect message comes down to knowing the 5 stages of awareness. Your market is broken into these 5 stages. Stage 5, unaware. They don't know they have a problem. Stage 4 is problem aware. They're aware they have a problem, but they don't know of a solution. Stage 3 is solution aware. So they're aware of the solution, but they're not aware which one is the best solution. Stage 2, product aware. They're aware of your specific product, but not how it works. And then finally, stage 1, they are most aware. You could even call this offer aware. They're aware of everything you do. They just need a few more details before they buy. You need to craft a separate message for each stage of awareness. So for stage 5, unaware, you tell them how what they're doing is actually stopping them from what they want in life. So whatever society has told them, whatever is the myth, whatever is false, you need to let them know why that's false and then transition them into the correct way of doing things. And again, that one is a very hard level to tap into. That advice I just gave is very simplified advice. There's many more ways to do it on a higher level, which is related to clickbait, but clickbait is a very hard thing to do. It is a skill worth learning, hard to do. Stage 4, problem aware. Just remind them how bad the problem is with pain stacking. So you can go re-listen to the space to figure out the formula for pain stacking. It's a 3-part formula, and you're just reminding them. Stage 3, solution aware. One of my favorites. Instead of selling them on what you do, you need to sell them on why everything else is the wrong option. So you need to disprove all the other solutions on the market. So all that's left is yours. For stage 2, product aware, you need to tell them what makes your solution different. That's it. Don't try to convince them of why it's better. Convince them of why it's different. The different is what will create that effect of wanting to buy from you. Okay. So think of it kind of like lateral. You're going left and right rather than trying to go forward and trying to be the best. So don't, it's not by saying, oh, my offer is going to get you 5,000 followers or 10,000 followers or 20,000 followers, right? You see everyone trying to go up. You just want to be different with what you're doing. Here's what makes my offer different than everybody else. Finally, stage 1, most aware. They're ready to buy. All you need to do is you just need to make the offer. I would encourage you, if you really want to be a focus like a business owner. I see my boy Kiri just hopped on. We talk about this often. Treat this like a business. You're making an offer every single day. The easiest way to do that is usually in an email list. So you're not, doing it on the timeline all the time. And then of course you want to learn from Eddie himself. So that is the summary of this space. Now I'm going to take questions soon. I don't know, Greg was here. Again, we have a podcast listening party. We're hopping on in like, I don't know, 30, 50 minutes or something. So I won't go as long as I usually do. You can join us after that. But I told people that this was a big space. There was a lot we had to talk about. I actually got a little bit concerned because I was like, ooh, we're going deep today. And I wish I could visually show you some things because that would make this so much easier. Like visually show you what an offer looks like, visually show you what pain stacking looks like, show you what these 5 awareness levels look like. So that's what I want to do for you. I've put together a collection of trainings that I have done on this that goes deeper into the subject because the issue with what we just talked about today, it's one of the most advanced subjects in marketing. And a lot of people haven't figured out how to teach it in the proper way. I have tackled that subject today and I've done it many more times in different trainings and videos. And so I have put all of those together. So I have videos that will show you how I apply this for clients on a strategy level so they can monetize their audience. Again, I will typically go into a client's business, much bigger size audience and email list, and I can bring in 50 to 120K in a matter of 30 days just by going through these levels of awareness with their existing audience. You can apply that for yourself on a smaller level, and I have a video showing you how to do that. I have a video showing you how to actually craft an offer. So today I said you just need to present the offer. I'll show you how to actually craft that in the most compelling way possible. And I'll even include another video that walks you through this same presentation, but I'll visually show you certain concepts so you can see it and make it much easier to understand. So if you want all of this, all that I ask from you today is just click that button down below, click that retweet button, and go ahead and share this with your audience. Okay. I will send this to you. There is no sales pitch, it is pure content. All I ask is for you to share this so I can go reach some more people with this information, and I'll personally send it to you, and I'll send it to you by Saturday or Sunday. Okay. I plan to make this public over the next 2 to 3 months, but I've been so busy, I don't know when I can get to that. So you will be the first ones to see this, and you'll have that advantage for quite a while. So I feel like this is the least I can do for sharing it. And so I just want to thank you ahead of time. No pressure to do so. With that said, I want to open this up for questions. So if you have a question, you can feel free to request. We can talk about what we talked about today, or we can just talk about anything else that you might want. And we'll probably go for 20, 30 minutes, and that will be about it. So I'm going to start letting some people on now. Oh, those guys are connecting. Cool. So J Pro, I don't know if you have a question. I know you requested quite earlier. Let me know.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much, Sam, for letting me speak. I enjoyed the space a lot. I think that you explained everything extremely well, and despite that, I'm going to re-listen the space because I need to really like take notes. I wasn't able to take notes because I was working on a project, so I'm gonna listen again to the space and take notes. I want to ask you about something related to storytelling because I hear that it's very much related to working on crafting the perfect message. And it's a question that I was always thinking about. I think I want to ask about how does storytelling enhance the effectiveness of a marketing message to our ICP?
Amazing. Thank you for the question. Yeah, I record these spaces so they're re-listenable, almost like a little mini masterclass. So definitely good idea to do it for this one specifically. So storytelling related to what we talked about today. And I'll talk about this from a business perspective, right? So I saw Chris Dyson was here. He's the other guy who knows this stuff very well. Storytelling, we use that when we want to tap into the widest segment of the market. So if you want to reach more people, telling a story is the best way to do that. So if we compare this with other types of content, let's take a how-to post, right? How I got, X number of followers in X days with these 3 simple steps. That type of post will never reach as many people as a story post will. The reason being is because stories just have the ability to reach a wider segment of the audience, and it's less apparent that you're like selling something. It's less apparent that it's a business. When you're doing a case study, that's very clear, like this is related to business, and it taps into someone who's more aware of what you do. So case studies are great. They're just kind of for a smaller segment of the market. Stories are, I mean, it's great because when you use a story to tackle an unaware segment, the goal of the story is, I don't know, if you're looking at a Google document, maybe, I don't know, 200 to 500 words in, that's when you want to start seeding the ideas of your business, right? We don't want to tell stories for the sake of telling a story. We want to use a story to actually bring people closer to who we are and what we're doing. So I can actually DM you an example of a story that I wrote for a business, and the purpose was for advertising. Okay. I wish I had that pulled up right now, but we used that story and we ran it as an ad, and it was one of our best performing ads that we've had. So what a lot of people don't realize here, storytelling is not just a branding move. It's not just a move to, differentiate. It can quite literally drive customers and drive clients. But what a lot of people miss out is you don't just tell some random story. You start to seed in the problem people are facing. You start to seed in what the solution might be, and then at the very end of the story you can either put your offer, or you can say, like, if this story relates to you, like, DM me and we can chat about whatever. So that would be my answer on how storytelling applies to business. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, definitely. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you. So we got Mir.
Hey Sam, that this was a wonderful space. As you were going through the awareness levels, I started following you. I can't believe I didn't see your profile before. So my question was basically, you talked about how important it is to segment your audience through the different awareness levels. So I've seen a lot of ads, especially Facebook ads, where instead of segmenting it, people just target two, three different awareness levels in the same ad, and the copy is always a bit longer than usual. So it takes them from like unaware to problem aware to solution aware. Then there's a link that to a sales page, and that sales page then takes them from solution aware and to product aware and so forth. So when you mentioned that we as content creators need to also segment our audience, and we need to write, like, practice writing long form content like 4 or 5 times a month. So what do you suggest that each of those that long form posts should be broken down into, like, the first should target the unaware audience, then the next should target problem aware, or should we take them through the awareness levels in each individual post?
Yeah, it's a great question. And you know what's funny? I can't believe I completely forgot to talk about this. So here's some of the gold. Here's how to actually apply this. Is if you've ever seen, so Mir, you understand things. I'm just gonna explain for the audience for a second. If you've seen these website pages that are just very, very long, right? We call them sales pages, and they sell something at the end of it. The reason these pages are so long is because they're designed to take people from the most unaware level down to the most aware level in one day, in one sitting. Okay, that's why those pages are long. They're not long to try and be annoying. They're long because that's how much marketing and messaging is needed to take someone through. So typically I would write, so if you open a Google Doc and write, I get paid to write things that are 50 pages long, right? That's massive. And you would be surprised, about 2 to 3% of people will actually convert and read an entire thing that's 50 pages long. So when it comes to content, this is something that I have been experimenting with. What I do with my personal brand clients when I do marketing for them is I kind of flip the whole thing sideways. So instead of doing one giant sales page, we break it up throughout the week, and we do that over content and email. So Monday through Thursday, right, I would talk about problem aware, and I would talk about more kind of solution aware stuff. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, those are usually when I make direct offers. So I'm now catering my marketing to people who are the most aware in my audience. And then when the week starts again on Monday, I go back up to problem aware, right? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm just doing a bunch of problem aware content. And then, like, Thursday, I might do a solution aware. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm doing things that are more offer driven, offer aware. And we would just cycle through this as our content calendar. So that's another insight. I don't look at content calendars as, like, on Monday, I'm going to post a how to, and on Tuesday, I'm going to post a story. I look at it as, like, the first part of the week, I'm going to move people from problem aware into solution aware. The middle part of the week, I'm going to move them from solution aware to most aware. And then at the end of the week, I'm going to try and capitalize on that most aware and tap into and turn it into sales. On a more advanced level, if you're targeting a 9 to 5 audience, the thing we would do is we would make our offer posts related to the days people would get their paychecks, which here in the US, it's usually like the 1st and the 15th. So our marketing calendar, we would start to pitch more offers about a day before and a day after the 1st, and then like a day before and a day after the 15th. And then everything else we're not pitching, we're just kind of moving people again. We're talking about problem stuff, solution stuff, and then we're bringing them closer to the sale, and then boom, we capitalize on it. So that's how I look at content. It can be short form, it can be long form. The benefit of long form is you can just move people quicker. You can educate them more, you can help them become more aware. That's why I love the long form post feature. So with my own content, when I try to tap into unaware, you'll see this soon. I want to it it's not the best example, but I'm going to write a post about Mr. Beast, but it's not at all going to be like 5 tips Mr. Beast used to grow, or like that's what everyone else does. What I want to do is I want to tell a story about Mr. Beast no one's telling. That has nothing to do with being a content creator, right? I want to take a different approach to a common subject. That's going to be my way to try and tap into an unaware thing. And then anyone who reads that, I'm going to start to seed the problem of the different problems creators have in their businesses. And then near the end of it, I want to present a different solution for how creators can actually grow a business differently than what's being taught. So that's like 3 levels in one post. So Mir, I'll shut up for a second, but hopefully that brought out just some gold with how I approach it. With content marketing, it's very nonlinear. It can be all over the place. You never know what's going to hit. So just cycle through these different levels and just spend less time on the most aware and spend more time on everything above it.
Wow, that was very insightful, man. And this is exactly the type of stuff that I was looking for, creating content cycles. I think that needs to be talked about a lot more, and I'm going to start applying that as well. So thank you so much for that, sir.
I like that. Content cycles. That's a really interesting idea. I think you just put words to something I've been trying to formulate for a little while. So yeah, you can apply content cycles to these levels of awareness, and that is how you can start to actually go tangibly apply some of this stuff. So we have Vinod. I believe this is the first time we're finally talking.
This is the first time we are finally talking. You're the same person or I'm the same person you noticed with 10-minute daily planning, and you
Yes.
suggested changing that to 10-minute daily promotion. And what I did after that, I created the entire offer based on that concept. 10, not exactly 10-minute daily planning, but promotion and career change and all. So here's my question. But thank you so much, Sam Ocean. I've been following you for almost 3 months now, 2, 3 months, and all your advice are great. I was feeling very down this morning because the offer that I created or the book that I created, nothing works. And then the offer was high ticket item because I was trying to give so much. And then I did a random thing last week, and this week is I wanted to do a workshop for quarterly planning workshop for programmers, and I have landing page, all that, but nobody signed up, and I was feeling so low. But the 5 steps that you just talk about, the awareness, the solution, and where these people are, make give me confidence that I'm just not there yet. My audience is not there where I feel that they should be, and I think I just have to work upon that. So I wanted to share that, number one. And number two, how do I approach this? How do I approach trying to write quality content? I'm trying to give it as much as possible, even for free, and then still not getting much traction, even in the comment or in the offers.
Perfect. I first wanted to apologize. I know we were supposed to have calls before, and I kept having to push it back and cancel. So I definitely haven't forgotten our interactions, man. And so second of all, great question. I'm guessing you're talking in the context of Twitter, correct? Or are you building and creating content somewhere else?
Twitter, and I have a news list of 675 people.
Got it. Okay, so I'll kind of tackle this from a high level, then we'll go in deeper. I am no platform expert, even though I've done a lot of big things on different social media platforms. I'm much more of a strategist. What I have just been learning for myself recently is it seems like LinkedIn might be where your target audience is, because if I'm a programmer, I'm probably on LinkedIn myself because I want to try and get, a job with one of the big programming companies, or like there's always that secret back door. I know you're helping them get promotions internally, but I'd have a feeling they're there too. So I would just consider, is Twitter the best place to be or not? That's a question I don't know how to answer. When it comes,
I will
oh,
quickly
yeah.
answer that I do double post there. So
Okay, cool.
three places: Twitter, LinkedIn, and my news list.
Got it. Perfect. So yeah, you're quite literally in that 0 to 1 stage of, you just need to find creative ways to get attention and then get people to see your offer. So again, if we're talking high ticket, I go back to how I teach people to do this, which is you need to get 10 people to see your offer. So have you had 10 people see your high ticket offer, as in they've seen the price, they've seen the pitch, and they either said, yes, I like this, let's do it, or no, I'll pass?
I did not get kind of the feedback. There were a few people who could not afford, but then they have reached out, but not the other people who may be interested or not. What? Yeah.
Got it. So if you got to go bring this to at least 10. If you have, you would at least want one person to buy. I'd probably say 1 to 2. If they haven't bought out of 10 people, then that means there's something with your offer. There needs to be an offer element that changes. Maybe you need to make it different. Maybe you need to offer a different promise. I know your market is quite validated already, so you just need to figure out a way to tweak the pitch, and then keep going at it. In terms of the content, so here's what's cool is a lot of people, they might think their audience is kind of depleted or they need to go get more audience, but you can see this come up when people launch a product. They launch a product, it makes a lot of money, and then they go launch it again and it makes a little bit less money, and then they launch it again and it makes even less than that, right? That is a effect of someone who is not moving their audience through the levels of awareness. When you keep launching and there's less and less and less money, or you're just building a business and your income's going down and down and down every month, it's because you are tapping into the people who are ready to buy, but you're not moving the people at the top closer to you. You're not tapping into that problem aware level of the audience. So before you launch, one of the best things you can do is create a lot of messaging around the problem, around problem where audiences, move them closer to you, and then you do the launch, or then you make the offer. So that's what I might encourage you to do, which is start to apply messaging where not getting why not getting a promotion is making their life worse. Ideas of, you don't want to be sitting here for another, couple years with the same pay but increased work demands. um, you don't want to let's see, you're tired of seeing, the person who just got the job after you get a promotion before you, right? There can be a lot of jealousy and envy involved. Like, you want to start talking about these things a little bit more and then leading them towards what your solution would be. I would experiment with that.
And I'm not at all talking about all this. I'm talking about how to be better, how to be more visible in in your workplace, how to be more visible in outside, how to make connection with recruiter. I'm talking about all different things that they could do to get a promotion or job change, but I'm not talking about these pain points.
Yeah, it's awesome you just said that, because when you talk about something that's how to, right? How to do something, that is a solution aware type of messaging. And as you know, solution, there's only like 10% of people in that level. If you go one step above to problem aware, it's like before you even teach them how to do something, you start to help them be aware of what's going on in their life in the negative way. Like, that will make them want to learn how to do stuff. So you got to make them want to learn how to do something. And you do that by reminding them of why what they're currently doing is not going to cut it in their life.
Thank you, Sam. This was a masterclass I needed. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, man. You've been a gentleman. Pleasure to talk to you. Can't wait to chat in the DMs. We got my man Tim here. Tim, I apologize. I'll get back to the DMs, man. I've just been so busy this week, but it's been fun talking.
Big man, it's not an issue at all. I know I'm quite busy myself. I know life gets in the way. I know you're running a big business. I'm running a much smaller business, but still running a business. So I know what it's like, bro. Yeah, man. So look, you know, I came from TikTok and stuff like that. The way we get our clients now for the agency and we do video, right, is mostly through cold outreach, right? And there's a strategy we have. But I'm just wondering, man, like, I'm here on X, right? And I'm a video guy. I'm actually planning to switch to video completely here on X. And I've talked to a very, very cool person, which is also here in the room. Not going to mention names because I didn't ask him for permission, but there's this idea to switch to maybe videos completely here on X. And what do you think about that? Because for me, it seems like a good move, even though, of course, this is a written a platform for writing, right? And I guess people come here for writing. But as time passes, you know that there's well, in my opinion, there's no chance that Elon will not make this into a video platform too. Like he's gonna go that direction. And at this point in time, I'm one of the early birds tapping in on that. And overall, what do you think about it? What are your takes on this?
So you're probably more knowledgeable than me. So let me just give you my perspective from my brain, which is if we look at how all of the major platforms have evolved, I think we quickly forget what they used to be, right? The only video platform used to be YouTube. You know what I mean? Everything else was non-video. And then over time, what I feel like happens is video is what causes expansion. Like video is what everything starts to move towards just because the format of video is so rich, right? If an image is worth 1,000 words, and how many words is a video worth, right? It's that whole idea. So now you got YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. All of them are seen as video platforms. Instagram, I feel like, is seen as a video platform now. TikTok has always been. So to what again, my advice is it's worth an experiment, Tim, because as we know, video, it's all about the format, not so much what type of text we use in our captions or is our background pink or blue, but like what is that visual format style? And the fact of just doing video on Twitter already makes it stand out. So conversations we already know, but if it hits, you'll be the first one to make it hit. I predict video is going to kind of be a bigger thing because I've noticed my own behavior. I'm someone who's very focused. I don't have productivity issues. I'm not the one who like has an issue scrolling my phone. Guess what I caught myself doing a few days ago was scrolling my phone and I was watching videos on Twitter out of all places. And so that was an unlock and I was like, "Ah, if it's happening to me, it's probably happening to other people and it's going to start happening more." So, Tim, I would love to see you do that. Not so much just video. I don't have a preference one way if it's just video or just, without text or not. Like do some text, but make it very obvious that this is a video guy.
Thanks for this, Sam. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I'm also leaning to the fact that like it might be mostly video, maybe like 2 videos per day and 1 text post. Maybe I'll aim for that kind of ratio. But man, yeah, I needed some perspective from other people, including you, from people that know their shit. And thanks for this. Thanks, Sam.
Definitely, man. I guess the number one thing I'd be testing is length. Like how long would the video be, right? I know Greg is someone who would be good to ask because I think he's just uploading full length podcasts that are like an hour or something. But I don't know if that works or not, and I don't know what the criteria for what it means if this works. So starting smaller and then starting to go longer, I think would be an interesting way to go about it. So I'll be following, man. Am I following you already?
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, you are. Yeah, I'm already testing some time points. So I have my own way of testing time points. So I just started from 30 seconds, then went to 60, then to 90. It seems to me that around like 30 seconds to 1 minute work best. I have a retention rate of 20% to the end of the video,
Mhm.
which is really good for a platform that is not used to video. So
Definitely.
yeah.
Good stuff, man. I'll be watching. Thank you. Okay, let's go with Ayman. Ayman, are you there? So I see you unmuted, but I can't hear anything. Let me bring a couple more people up just in case. Okay. Okay, so I'll go to somebody else for now, and then we'll try you in a bit. Maybe leave and then rejoin. Let's see, we got waiting for Mark to connect. I think I'll go for about 10 more minutes, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Okay. Okay, it looks like we're having issues with our last couple people trying to connect. So Joshua, I don't know if you can hear me, but it's not letting me let you up here.
Hello.
Okay, who do we got? Oh, Eamon?
Yeah, can you guys hear me? Did it let me up?
I mean, I'm hearing someone talk.
Yeah, this is Joshua. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yes, we can. What's up, Joshua?
Hey, well, I was just going to comment to the previous guy that spoke, but it sounded like at the end he clarified what he was doing there. So he is kind of like doing testing to see how long the retention of the video is. That would be definitely key suggestion for me. And I do a lot of YouTube work, so I've been trying to do stuff over here on X, but I'm not having much success with video on X just yet. And all those guys that are experts with the algorithms say to wait. They say that they're going to make improvements, that they do want to go toward video on this platform. So just keep testing, and I'm gonna follow you as well. And I want to see what you find out. Come back and let us know. I want to hear. But I think you can find success with the smaller videos. And my approach on X is a variety of formats. I do long form, short form, video. Just try everything out and see what your audience likes. Anyways, thank you guys for letting me in here at the tail end of this. And I'm sorry I missed most of this. It sounded like a very interesting conversation.
Oh, Joshua.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for the contributions, man. Yeah, Tim, I know you already know this, but one thing I love to say, because I come from a video world too, is tweets don't go viral, but videos do. Like when you compare virality of a video versus a tweet, like the video just swamps. You can have a tweet go viral and you might get, I don't know, if you're lucky, 1,000 new followers, maybe 2,000 new followers. But when you have a video go viral, commonly people get 20,000 new followers, 30,000, 50,000. I've even had a buddy get 350,000 new followers from one viral video in 6 weeks. And so to be on the cutting edge of that with Twitter is going to be fascinating. To see Twitter's first viral video, I can't wait to see what that's going to look like and what it's going to do for that account. Could probably literally be a cheat code that gets people into that 100,000, 200,000 range way quicker than you could imagine. So I'll go with let's see, Eamon, you want to try one more time?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. It's working.
Thank God. Okay, so my question is regarding to getting organic traffic on content, especially on this platform, right? Because I've been on this platform for almost 2 months, right? And I've been doing like everything, like the content, like the way we should post, right? It's actionable, it's problem focused. Sometimes I post also case studies. And my question is that how we should, like what action we need to take to get organic traffic on our content, right? Because what I'm seeing these days on Twitter right now, people are obsessing over followers, right? So is it something like if you do have more followers, it makes you more credible, or is it just you can still get clients like just by posting content, by interacting with ideal profiles, right? So is it something like that?
Oh,
or
yeah.
just
For sure. It's if it's the question's either this or that, it's usually an and so long story short, you can do both. And I can give some examples. And I'm by no means a Twitter or an growth expert. I see some faces in here who definitely probably know the mechanics more than me. I've just figured out how to do it on a strategy level. So I have buddies, right? I have a consulting client right now. He has less than 1,000 followers, and he's tweeting, and he's getting leads with people who run like 8 and 9 figure companies, right? And so he's doing the typical, he'll post a how-to, he'll post, some problem stuff, he'll talk about his solution, and it's attracting leads, and he has less than 1,000 followers. So it's very possible to do it. How you make that first person reach out, it's, outside of my control. It's one of those things where you just wake up and, oh, there's a DM from this person, right? That's the nature of organic. It is free, it is beautiful, but it is uncontrollable sometimes. So that's number one. In terms of getting traction and getting growth, someone correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like the algorithm has changed, and it's probably, I don't want to say harder than ever, but it's just harder than it was before to grow on Twitter. I think that's the conversation I'm hearing. Not that it's impossible, but before you could kind of like do these little hacks and tricks to get followers. I used to pay for, I did an experiment where I ran ads to get followers, and it was too easy, right? None of this stuff exists anymore. So it seems like writing long form story tweets, one, joining spaces and speaking is two. And I'm sure there's a third one, but I'm not an expert, so I don't know what it is. So for me, writing long form tweets and then joining spaces and even hosting these has been the number one way that I've gotten new people into my audience. So I would just combine the two.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you for the question. So who did I bring up here? We got Nicholas, the man with the beard.
Yo, what's going on, Sam? Hey, I've listened to a bunch of these spaces that you've hosted. They've all been super helpful. This one in particular, I probably am going to go back and watch 3 or 4 times and take notes. Man, just the levels of awareness is something I need to kind of get my skill up on. So hearing you explain it has been amazing. I also wanted to quickly add to the conversation of video that you gentlemen were talking about. I think a great example of this, everyone knows Dan Koh's name. I think the reason he has kind of like a cult following right now is mainly because of his video content. Not necessarily even just because of the Instagram reels, but the YouTube videos. I feel like you can't build as strong of a connection with writing as easily as you can with video. So I just wanted to kind of throw that example out there as well, because that's something that I'm going to be implementing myself.
Yeah, it's good, man. I know some of my buddies, we talk about this a lot, which is, for me personally, I plan to get on LinkedIn very, very soon, because I was on a space with Talon Simmons yesterday, and he had said he has 70,000 followers on Twitter, and he's got 17,000 followers on LinkedIn, and 80% of his leads come from LinkedIn. To me, that was just a mind-blowing statistic. Way less followers, way more leads. So I'm going to be moving to that platform because it seems much related to Twitter, but that's not even the end goal. YouTube long form is the end goal. I'm going to be opening a YouTube channel for my own personal brand very, very soon. And the reason I do some of these spaces is so I can kind of, see what worked, see what didn't, get some feedback, and then just turn these, go do it again, but make it a video, kind of Dan Koh style. The beauty of that, and again, I don't know if anyone here is interested in it. So I have a business in Latin America. We grew that YouTube channel from 0 to 185,000 in about a year. And I've worked with a lot of big YouTube channels. YouTube isn't just a platform for discovery, right? It's not just a platform where you try to make a video, make it go somewhat viral, and then get new subscribers and new followers. You can actually use your YouTube channel as a bottom of the funnel thing. Instead of putting it at the front of your business, you can put it at the back of your business. So as you use Twitter and LinkedIn as a way to get more traction, and then people click around your website and start to research you, they can then land on your YouTube channel after they discovered you somewhere else, right? Having long form videos there, as you've heard Hormozy say, his best clients were the ones who read 2 long form blog posts. You can get the same effect with video. So my whole goal is with the YouTube, I'm not going to make any unaware level content. I'm not going to try to go viral. I'm going to make very business specific things that won't reach a lot of people. But if someone lands on my channel and they watch a video, they're going to get sucked in and they're going to see me as an expert before they leave my channel. That's going to be a very good thing for anyone here because you don't need high quality editing if you use YouTube in that way. So, Nicholas, thank you for reminding me of that. And thanks for the compliments, man. I would love to chat with you in the DMs
Absolutely.
and, tell me what you think when you re-listen to this. So
I would love to, and I definitely will subscribe to that YouTube channel. I'm looking forward to it. And one last super quick comment just to add to that. Yeah, I've seen your tweets on the timeline about a month and a half back, and it wasn't until I hopped into Spaces and heard your voice. So I think this is an important one as well, is voice, which is part of YouTube videos as well, or just video in general. It creates such a strong bond as well, and that's why, I'm following everything you're doing now as well. And I saw Dan Coe's tweets for years, and now adding the voice to it, it's a game changer. It just adds a completely different level. So I appreciate that, and I will be a subscriber for sure.
Oh, thanks, man. That's such good feedback because there is a spectrum of what content format builds the most trust the fastest. I'm pretty sure it goes images 1, text is 2, voice is number 3, and then video is 4. As in, video builds the most trust, but it takes the most time. Voice tends to be that middle ground where it's like easier to do, but it still gets that effect of like, this is a real person. So again, my strategy is Twitter Space is kind of my testing ground. And then I'm going to take these, refine the message, and then take it to YouTube. That's kind of my content plan. So let's go on to, I'll take like 2 more questions. So we'll go Journeyman. There he is.
Hey, my friend Sam, how are you, brother?
I am good. It's good to be chatting with you.
Yeah, I apologize for coming late here. I just kind of woke up late and I was in a different space, and I saw yours pop up and I just couldn't leave because I was mid conversation. But I'm definitely gonna watch this back.
Amazing.
So I apologize if I'm gonna ask a question that you may have already talked about. In terms of crafting the perfect message that converts, I know that a lot of people say evoke emotion and a lot of people say add a CTA at the end. And I've been trying to add CTAs at the end of my long forms, and I wanted to know, I guess, your thoughts on that, because I've tried different ways where I just kind of plug a link to the bio, and I've also tried ways where I just put like kind of the space link in my comment at the end of the post. And I just wanted to know what you think was the best way to do that, or if adding a CTA was a good way at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a great way, especially if you can transition into the CTA in the best way possible. So it will be hard to do it if I can't see what your CTA looks like, because it sounds like you're doing everything right. What it can come down to is, I don't think it will be the case with you because you're a good writer and communicator. For most people, they're making an offer, they're making a CTA, but it's just not good. Like the transition flops somewhere in the middle. I don't think that's going to be the case with you, but a lot of this game can just be, you never know what's going to hit, man. Like, just because we make a CTA doesn't mean that someone's going to respond to it, and it has nothing to do with the CTA. It could literally just be the combination of timing. Maybe that post just didn't reach the person it needed to reach because of the algo, right? This is why it's just important to do this consistently, because let me tell you a story. So Sebastian Rosego, right? I love this guy. He's been a gentleman to me. He's been growing very fast. He has positioned himself as a creator, business guy, growth expert on X. And I delivered a masterclass in his community at one point, right? And he had asked me, hey, Sam, what did you think about the launch of my latest product, right? He wanted to know what my perspective was on how he launched it. My response was, Sebastian, I didn't even know you launched a product. I didn't even realize that happened. And it's such good feedback, because what you think people know about you can be radically different from the truth. So that's the whole point of like, Journeyman. There might be someone who would have bought from you, but they just didn't even know that post existed. So we just got to keep doing it, and then something's going to hit. And the last thing I'll say is this idea of unequal distribution, okay? The 80-20 concept. It's not that if you post once a day, that each post gets like 1 to 2 leads a day. It's always going to be like you post 10 times, nothing hits, and then the 11th time you get like 10 leads. So there's an unequal distribution in the content you post. You just need to post enough to get to that point and be willing to kind of like endure the suck until you get to the next one and it all starts to balance out. So I think that would be the biggest piece of advice.
For sure, man. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to just say that like I post once a day, and most of my long forms have been doing pretty well, except there's this one time, and I think it's because of the algo stuff, where it's like there's just a couple of posts sometimes just don't get anywhere and you feel like garbage. But I don't think it's about that. I think it's about the repetitions that you put in and the awareness that you put out and the way that you craft it. And if it's super powerful, it'll reach. And so I just wanted to thank you for reiterating that and helping me break my limiting beliefs like you always do.
Of course, man. If we just look at the bigger picture, things start to solve itself, especially in the content game. It's hard to analyze every single piece of content. My whole thing is the more I do this, the more I realize I don't know what's going to work or not. So I used to be like, oh, this post is specifically handcrafted. It's going to get this outcome. And today I'm like, let's put it out there and let's see what the heck happens. So that mindset keeps our sanity. Let's go, Journeyman. Thank you so much for the questions. I'm going to do one more and then I'm going to have to bounce. Let's go with Chris Fitz.
Hey, how's it going, Sam? Appreciate your talk. I learned so much. I just hopped in kind of in the middle. Definitely going to take a re-listen to it. My question is, you probably answered it, but when you go through the awareness level stages, do you ever mention any quote-unquote soft pitches for that offer you're going to offer, or you just only exclusively do it at the most aware stage?
Yeah, so good question. It is understanding the difference between an offer and a solution, right? So the solution is not your offer, but your offer contains the solution. The offer is like the thing that gets somebody to buy, and it's usually based on an outcome. So when they pay you money, how is their life going to improve? Like, what are the results that are going to happen? Your solution is the very specific thing that will get them those results. So when they pay you money over the next 90 days, you and I are going to work on these specific things together. And those specific things we work on, that is the solution. So for example, my offer could be how to get 10,000 followers. And my solution for that offer is we're going to apply my breakthrough content framework. So it's understanding the differences of those two. And what I do is I always talk about the solution before I talk about the offer, because someone needs to be sold on your solution before they can be sold on the offer. Again, the offer is when I ask for the money. It's where I make the final pitch. The solution is just how I help people get the results they want. So if I were to ramble this a little bit, oh yeah, I kind of did it before. Like, you're probably noticing growth on X is slow lately. Your competitors are producing AI bullshit. No more followers, no more leads. Things are slowing down. Progress used to be nice, but now it's like winter. It's cold. It's hard to get results now. Is the competition just getting worse, or maybe it's just you? Good news, it's not just you, it's everybody. And the solution has nothing to do with engaging 30 minutes a day. It has nothing to do with posting 5 times a day. It doesn't even have anything to do with joining spaces for hours on end. Those things aren't going to help get you the results that you want. What is going to help get you the result is if you post the right content. I say the right content because everyone's posting the wrong content. Let me explain. So, Chris, I just freestyled that, right? You can see I'm taking you through the awareness level in a bit, and I take you into what my solution is. After that, I would have taken you into the offer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Cool, man. I always do soft CTAs. So in my posts, I never put the offer in the post. I'll always put something in the comment of the post. That seems to work the best as well. So, okay, I think that's Akbar. I see you got the request, but I'm gonna have to wrap this up. So if you got a question, I'm more than happy to answer it in a DM if that would help. So everybody, thank you so much. This was Marketing Mastery, something I've learned over the last 9 years. And again, I'll say it one more time. I have, for anybody who wants it, I have follow-up training that goes deeper into this concept. It shows people how that I actually apply this with clients, and I visually show you in a video, and I have other videos that show you how I actually craft offers at the final stage of awareness, and showing you different concepts that we talked about today. If you want that, I'm happy to send that to you in a DM. All I ask in return is you go click that button, you retweet this, and I'll get this to you sometime over the weekend. And I feel like that's the least I can do. So again, I'm going to wrap this up. Guys, thank you so much for the questions. Thank you so much for being here.